He's invited me to bring my experience, my talents, and my views into the large Liberal tent.
Something's going on here. Welcome back to Moose on Loose. My name's David. Today we have a hardcore conservative crossing the floor to Carney's Liberals. What's going on? What was promised? A cabinet position? Some sort of bribery? Nothing adds up here. Let's jump into this. Well, the news is breaking right now. We have Marilyn Gladu. This is very much a conservative has crossed the floor to the Liberals. She's been with the Conservative Party now, has ran 4 times over a decade. This makes absolutely no sense. And as I go through here, you're going to see this doesn't line up at all. So this is her statement saying, "Dear citizens of Sarnia, Lambton, the past year has been like no other that Canada has ever faced, and I've heard clearly from constituents that you want serious leadership and a real plan to build a stronger, more independent Canadian economy." None of these words line up with her actions, with her words, with her own Twitter account, as we're going to get to here. So she just comes out with this flowery garbage that sounds like it was written from someone on Carney's team. Says, "That's why I've decided to join Prime Minister Mark Carney in the Canada's new government." They're not new. It's the same old government. As the newest member of its caucus, it is a privilege to have served as your member of parliament for more than a decade, and I've made a choice to do the best thing for our community's priorities and, importantly, for our country. So she goes on to talk about her experience, yada, yada, yada. Goes to say she'll be working relentlessly to advocate for the project's priorities and prosperity that our communities are counting on. She wants to talk about her community. This is what she won with: 49% in 2019, 46% in 2021, and 53% in 2025. And you can see projected 47% right now. We, even with everything going on and the polling being bad and all that stuff, still projected at 47%. This is a conservative stronghold riding in Ontario. The Liberals got 37%. They're not going to win this riding. As in, the next election, she's going to lose her riding because she's now a Liberal. So she's not representing her constituents. What is going on here? Carney coming out with a photo. Typical thing here, likes to showboat it. "In this crucial period for the future of our country, Canadians with a great diversity of experiences and perspectives are uniting to build a strong Canada, blah, blah, blah." We know he's just going to roll his net zero agenda to get rich, make $1 billion. Here they are, hamming it up for the camera.
It is a great pleasure to welcome Marilyn Gladu to, and we'll do it officially.
Yes.
It's a handshake in English. Officially to the government caucus and to the Liberal caucus. Marilyn has tremendous experience in business as an engineer, international business experience, and 10 years, 4 elections of experience in Parliament, and one of the most collaborative members of Parliament, working across party lines on important issues, and really...
She's unbelievable, showing up with a red shirt crossing the floor, like just absolute traitor.
Dedicated to her electors in Sarnia, Lambton, Baykeshawang, which I am informed rightly means where the waters meet. And the waters, in my analogy, are meeting in service of Canadians at this crucial time.
This is where the corruption meets. This is not normal. Something is going on here.
Time for our country, and I couldn't be happy. I know Mr. Solomon, who knows her well and has worked closely with her over the years.
Oh, of course, we've got Evan Solomon, the guy who worked with Carney's wife after he lost his job at CBC for doing dirty art deals with none other than Mark Carney. If you're new around here, you can go into moosechart.com, look for Evan Solomon at the bottom here under this red section with the Liberals, and I've got an entire video on his dirty art deals here.
After an investigation into Evan's private business affairs away from the CBC, that they had uncovered a sort of secret sideline in art dealership. It seems a deal was struck for a commission, a 10% commission that was done in secret. If Evan Solomon, it seems, could introduce this art collector to some famous and influential people, and Mark Carney, who was the governor of the Bank of Canada, now the governor of the Bank of England.
This clown show is unbelievable. And as I'm going to show you here with this new floor crossing section, something's going on here.
Be happier to have this expertise, experience, and energy coming to our team. So welcome, everyone.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. I'm very happy to be the newest member of our new Liberal government. I've been watching the Prime Minister since he was elected, and the big things that he is driving, nation-building.
How do you throw your morals out the window so easily? She's talking about nation-building projects. You called this guy out. I just put a clip of her on the channel 2 weeks ago of her ripping the Liberal government. She was appalled by the use of the Emergencies Act. This is not normal. This is not her waking up one day and deciding, you know what, I'm a liberal today. Yeah, it's time to cross the floor. People are swayed by money. People will throw their morals out the window for money. Not everyone, but some people, it doesn't take much. Look at Chris D'Entremont. It looks like he got nothing. Right on Marilyn's X account here. I mean, look at this. So she's just reposted Carney's photo of them together. If we scroll down, she reposted Pierre Poilievre, and she's not locking any of this down. Free Speech Union of Canada, reposting that. Another one, Pierre Poilievre, pointing out the problem is not Ottawa. Ottawa is a city. The problem is the Liberal government. Reposting Kyle Seebeck, pointing out the EV subsidies. It just goes on and on and on. And suddenly she's a Liberal. She doesn't stand for any of this in such a strong Conservative riding where she's not going to win that riding come next election. How much money, what kind of position, what kind of enticement would cause someone to do this who is clearly a Conservative, has Conservative values, and now is suddenly a Liberal? This does not make sense whatsoever. I mean, look at this. If she had such a problem with all of this, she wouldn't be reposting this stuff. Posting herself here to this video.
Everyone knows the Liberal government's invocation of the Emergencies Act was overreach.
And what does she say? Because violating our charter rights has become the normal to them. This is what she said in March 21st, as in a few weeks ago. It is disappointing that the Liberal government at the last minute has again appealed the court decision that the Emergency Measures Act was illegal. Are you kidding me? Now you're supporting the government? This does not add up.
Projects, diversifying our trade, bolstering our defense, plans to address criminality and build more homes. These are all the things that Canadians want. These are actually the things that the people of Sarnia, Lambton, Bikeshwanong want. As the Prime Minister mentioned, I worked for decades globally as a chemical engineer and in numerous sectors in very complex supply chains. So I think I have a lot of experience that can help accelerate the government's priorities. Sarnia, Lambton is an economic hub. We have 30% of the petrochemicals in the country, and we have the largest economic traffic across the Blue Water Bridge. And so we need a serious leader who can address the uncertainty that has arrived due to the unjustified American tariffs. We need
She can't be serious. This chemical engineer is going to sell her soul and her morals to back Mark Carney. She will undoubtedly not get elected the next election. So she is putting an end to her political career here. This makes no sense unless somebody's handing her $1 million in the background. Or what else is it? 5 million? 10 million? Is it $100? What is it? Cabinet position and guaranteed that she can switch to another Liberal stronghold riding in the next election? What is going on here?
A global leader with a plan to make a more resilient Canada, a stronger Canada, a more self-reliant Canada for this critical moment. And that man is our Prime Minister, Mark Carney. He's invited me to bring my experience, my talents, and my views into the large Liberal tent. And I think that will have a better effect inside than it will outside. And so I am happy to start working with my Liberal colleagues and the Prime Minister to
I don't buy the crap she's putting out here. This is not authentic whatsoever.
build Canada strong. Merci.
Merci. Merci beaucoup.
La même chose en français.
This is an absolute disgrace. I mean, we even have people like Robin Urbeck here of Globe and Mail saying this reflects poorly on both. Gladue for obvious reasons, but if one ever needed proof that Liberal principles are first and foremost about the acquisition of power and not a coherent set of values and perspectives, it's accepting an unapologetic conservative like Gladue into caucus. Yeah, she has conservative values clearly, yet Carney does not care because he's just all about making himself rich here. So I started with my first poster, which I put out on my X account the other day. This is all about the Grays Bay project here. And there were some comments, and I agree that there's too much information in here. So I'm going to figure out a visual formula that Canadians walking by can look at it and get it right away. There's too much information in here. You know, you've got Chinese state-owned companies here, 67%, 10%. 78% of this mine is owned by China. Carney using our tax dollars to provide a road so this Chinese company can get these critical minerals out. Now, jumping over the moose chart, I put this on a timeline. You got to see this. This is not coincidence what's going on here. So we've got November 4th, Chris D'Entremont crosses the floor, announces he will be crossing the floor the very same day that the 2025 federal budget came out. This is the same budget that had a massive deficit. It was timed exactly when official opposition was preparing their official post-budget media response. The 2025 budget revealed a staggering $78.3 billion deficit for 25-26, wiping out previous projections. The PBO publicly warned it was highly unlikely the government would be able to meet its own declining deficit to GDP fiscal anchor. And the strategic impact of this, they weaponized a defection to dominate dominate the most important economic news day of the year, shifting focus completely away from the budget scrutiny to a project narrative of liberal momentum and conservative fracture. Then we've got Michael Ma on December 11th, 2025, executed just hours after the House of Commons wrapped its fall legislative sitting for the 6-week winter recess. This occurred the very morning after Michael Ma had just attended and socialized at the Conservative Party's Christmas gathering on December 10th. The very next day, he attends the Liberal Christmas party, comes out as a Liberal, just a day before whining and dining with Conservatives, taking photos with Pierre Poilievre and Anna Poilievre. This was strategically timed ahead of Prime Minister Mark Carney's anticipated diplomatic trip to China and Qatar in January. Michael Ma joins him on his trip to China. The impact of this blindsided the Conservatives, monopolized the holiday news cycle, perfectly set him up as a newly minted Liberal asset on Carney's first prime ministerial trip to China. February 18th, 2026, Matt Genereux. He resigned from Parliament 48 hours after Michael Ma. It seems he got cold feet. Maybe he just wanted to hold out for something more. What are these guys getting? Is there bank accounts in Beijing that are getting filled with money? Nobody knows. Is this time just days before critical confidence votes on the highly controversial 2026 budget? Genereux comes out and says, Carney's speech in Davos, like re-inflaming that thing, stirring that up in the media cycle. He timed this 1 week before the departure of his Indo-Pacific diplomatic tour. Matt Genereux joins Carney going over to South Asia, and because he was supposed to resign, thus there's no more by-election, Carney gets a seat without having to run in a riding that will likely go to the Conservatives. He opened the door or carrots for future defectors here, knowing that they could get more. Genereux gets this position as economic advisor to Mark Carney, even though he's Mr. Banker. Why does he need an economic advisor? Isn't that why Canadians voted him in? Goes on his diplomatic tour. And once again, the whole Davos thing, getting that in the media cycle once again. Moving ahead, we've got March 10th, 2026, Lori Idlett. Timing of this happened the very same week that Mark Carney announces April by-elections. He needs to win those elections to get a majority government, and suddenly she crosses the floor. This conveniently aligns with billions in spending announced for Nunavut just weeks before and just days after Lori endorses Avi Lewis for the NDP. There was no doubt that Carney was afraid that with the momentum of Avi Lewis and seeing that polling data, I showed it before, it looks like if he ran in one of these by-elections, he might be able to win one of them. A lot of NDPers are looking for someone who's not Mr. Banker, who keeps stealing conservative policies. They want to go back to the left. The Liberals are looking at that and said, we need to start pulling over some of these NDP. They brought over Dolly Buggam, former Ontario deputy leader for the NDP party. They bring in Lori Idlett, trying to quell the NDP resurging as a party in Parliament. January 5th, $8.5 million for linguistic education in Nunavut. January 30th, $250 million to build 750 homes in Nunavut. February 6th, $600,000 for digital literacy in Nunavut. February 19th, $228 million for a series of projects in Nunavut. March 4th, $6 billion in trade and infrastructure funding in Nunavut. The $6 billion was what did it, and suddenly March 10th, she crosses the floor. And that brings us to today, April 8th, 2026. We have Marilyn Gladu. As I've shown, this woman is a conservative values. It makes no sense why she would join Carney's party unless there's something on the table. Is it millions of dollars in China? Is it a cabinet position? I mean, that doesn't even make sense unless she's guaranteed a safe liberal riding going forward. But why would she throw away her morals? This makes no sense whatsoever. This is announced 24 hours before the Liberal convention. Surprise, surprise. What timing? All these major events and then all these floor crossings. There's no way they could time this without there being significant financial incentives. We've seen this around the world. We've seen this in Canada. People will break from their moral values for money. This is also being announced 5 days before the by-elections on April 13th. Once again, Carney needs those for his majority government. He's at 171 right now, shy one seat, but he wants a more comfortable majority so he can fly around the world and not have to vote in the House of Commons. And the impact of this, well, hijacks the news cycle once again. As she just said, opening up a big tent. Don't worry, we can bring in all the conservatives now. It's a big liberal tent. Anyone's welcome because it's all about power, not about standing for what you believe in. This is all way too convenient that during all these major events happening here, whether it's with the NDP, the by-elections, the Liberal convention, and there's a floor crosser. This thing happens, there's a floor crosser. That thing happens, there's a floor crosser. You have the budget, there's a floor crosser. There's two floor crossers. The day of this awful deficit spending, let's just cover that up with some floor crossers. You can't time this stuff unless there's something in it for them. There's no way to have these people come over right at this right moment unless they are incentivized. And who's going to throw away their career unless it's worth a lot to them? These guys are not crossing because Mark Carney's crisp suit and banker haircut. Did they go to D'Entremont and say, you know what? Okay, hey, we heard that you want to floor cross, a couple months earlier. Come on over on November 4th. That would be best for us. Is that what they're doing? I call bull crap. Michael Ma goes to the Conservative Christmas party, the next day becomes a Liberal at the Liberal Christmas party, just after the fall legislative sitting ends for 6 weeks for Christmas to dominate the news cycle. This is way too planned. This is not sporadic. This is not people suddenly deciding, you know what, the Liberals are the way to go. This is all planned. People can say what they want. I'm convinced that these people are being paid lots of money to do this at specific times so the Liberals can continue to snowball power, so Mark Carney can roll out his net zero agenda and get stinking rich. Now, going back to this, it's all about power for Carney. We got Sharia Tees pointing this out. This MP opposed Green Luigi legalization, suggested sending military to end pipeline protests, promoted alternative treatment to the world event Pokey Poke, and voted against Bill C6, and now she's a Liberal MP. Yeah, it doesn't add up. And we've got Embrandt posting this, more government overreach in regards to new bills that allow government to intrude the privacy and security and secretly boot individuals from the internet. Kirk Lubimov posting this. Amarjeet Gill said he was approached by the Liberals and he said no. Marilyn Gladue says thank you for being true to the voters. Her words, her actions don't align. What is she being bribed with? Here she is backing calls for automatic by-elections for MPs who switch parties. This doesn't add up. And on top of that, here she is in the House of Commons, openparliament.ca, saying back in September 18th, 2025, talking about houses here, it says the Liberals are saying the 13 billion bureaucracy is going to start with 4,000 homes, and then goes on to mention here, how many is this going to be built, how many apartments, how many modular homes, which Brookfield and the Prime Minister, as a direct result, will profit from and are going to be built. She knows about the grift here with Mark Carney, and now she's a part of it. So what is she getting in return?